Oh, wait a minute.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. I am Barbara True, and I am here with Melissa Begley, my co-host, and my lovely friend, Mary Lynn Louise. And we are all here for the raising awareness for raising awareness for egotistical and arrogant people's behaviors. And so that is our topic for April. We're hoping more people will join us, but now we are here, the triumvirate, and we are going to start and share our poetry. And hopefully more people will come, but if not, we will be discussing this on our own. So, Melissa, as always, I'm going to let you start.
Good morning from the USA, Kentucky. And thank you for listening to our poetry initiative. And like Barbara stated, hopefully we'll have more people that will join us. But in the meantime, I am going to recite a poem. And my poem is titled Zen Like Calm. Life is a perilous journey, and do not underestimate the power of love. The gated entrance to enlightenment is not open from your stream of artistic words. Perchance, delusions of grandeur is the earthly crown you placed upon your head. Egotistical behaviors is the delivery of rotten fruit. The fragrance of rotten fruit is festooned in the air, but is poisonous as an unthinkable soul. Inexplicable anxiousness serves as a lost purpose. Boisterous and giddy with excitement when the finger of success points at us. Chattering excitedly upon our own accomplishments and accolades. The Zen-like calm and exceptional quality of life is first and foremost a higher power and our loved ones. Life is remarkably simple when you articulate the words, I love you, to the people that truly matter in your world. And that is exactly, I'll say this briefly because I know there'll be further discussion, but really egotistical behaviors is rotten fruit. And especially when people try to take credit for what other people do, or, at least set the appearance that they are, accomplished a project or something that they did not. Okay.
Excellent. Excellent.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Couldn't have said it any better.
Thank you, Mary Lynn, Barbara.
It is
Very welcome.
exactly rotten fruit. Perfect.
Sure is.
And so now we have Mary Lynn Louise.
Okay, let me pull mine up here. See it. Okay, my poem, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Mary Lynn Louise from the United States, Florida, and I'm very pleased to be here, and I hope that you enjoy and that you will join us, and some feedback would be great. Anyway, the name of my poem is You Say I'm Worthless. You say I'm worthless, that I'm no good. Your words hurt me deeply, causing me to cry. Tears flowed down my cheeks from my eyes. Who made you a judge of God's creation? He says I'm a cause for celebration. He says that I'm the apple of his eye. He loved me so much that he was willing to die. He dances and sings over me. I'm his child, and from sin, I'm free. That's his story. I will be with him in glory. Of course, if you don't agree, you can pray and talk to him, and one day we will see. That's it.
Great.
And all I have to say here is that this happened, this poem happened because I actually saw a person who was being done this way and the reaction that it took place. And it was unbelievable to me that a person, a human being, could talk to another human being like this. You know, we have so many people who commit suicide, who are depressed, that this is something that would just push them right over the edge.
Absolutely.
And it broke my heart. It really broke my heart. And that poem I wrote and dedicated to her. And I showed it to her. I said, now, well, we'll discuss this later. But anyway, my poem was real. It came from
It's
my heart. It was what I thought.
powerful.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a little more light on this. On me. Okay, that's better.
You're dressed like Razzie. He's got red on today.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to read mine. I wrote it when I knew this was going to be our topic. And it's called Egotistic People Are Arrogant. Some people have an ego that feeds on the buds of dreams. Some have such a huge ego, they have no room for others in their life. And they walk around with their egos so large, they must place them on rollers as they glide along in life, oblivious to whom they are hurting with this vicious attachment to their personalities. People who are dragging around their egos are arrogant and believe the world is meant for them. They look not at others, for they are only a means to an end. Other lives exist for the benefit of theirs. And when the possibility someone does not want to step aside for the grandiose, egotistical being, then the arrogance of a person who goes only on ego is enough to cancel out all good feelings that might have existed between you. An arrogant person lies and steals and covers up. He or she may manipulate you to make you believe, but in the end, the truth always wins out. Arrogant people get what they deserve and sometimes realize their new shattered ego has been pushing them the whole time. This is a rare occurrence, but does happen. Then the sad, deflated ego must slip away and be replaced by remorse and regret. For people who choose this path, it isn't easy, but the result is rewarding, for they have gotten rid of the chain that, like Marley's ghost, they have worn all their lives. Without the balloon-sized ego of these people, their arrogance disappears, replaced by a caring spirit and love for mankind. The ego has hidden all that has been nurtured into them, and now the door opens to a new beginning.
I like that because I think that people can change. And I do think it takes a higher power. And I like some of your metaphorical aspects of your poem. And I do believe that egotistical people are manipulative people as well.
They are very manipulative and create a lot of problems for us in the world, I think.
You're right. And I think we see it a lot in our leaders. I hate to say that.
Leaders, yeah. Some
Okay.
of our leaders are very egotistical. So now we don't have anybody else coming in. I'm sorry, it's my fault.
That's okay. I'm going to read another poem before we go to our discussion. I think if
Sure.
we all have another poem, we should read one.
I
And
don't know, I'll have to look and see if I do. I have to look. Okay, anyway, while she's looking, I just want to mention that we do these things once a month. Everyone is invited to come and participate. And I would like more people here, if you could. It's really easy. You just click on the Zoom link and you're right with us. And would be wonderful if you could come and join us. In the past, we have had a lot of people. I don't know what's happened, but some people don't.
Yeah, we'll have to get people motivated.
Yeah.
But before I read my poem, I'm going to read a verse from the Bible, from Philippians 2:3. Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, let each of you regard one another as more important than himself. I thought that was a very good
That's really great.
Bible verse.
What it's all
Okay,
about.
this is sort of one of my crazy poems. It's called Queen of Darkness. The Queen of Darkness is beauty and grace. As a psychic vampire, she is practiced at the art of manipulation. Charismatic personality, but nearsighted with a self-serving narcissistic being. Street smart on the presentation of being weaker and sicker than others, if not involved in the creative endeavor of playing the victim. Financially strong, but the expression of, if only I had the money to meet my bills. Depression for attention to detach the light of others to feed her glow, a sanctuary of servants and handmaidens. In an influential position to control strife, but prefers the knife deeply placed in a back, as Caesar was murdered. She is a teaser to have a gang of innocents that slowly develop hardened hearts to slay her victim. It is too late to reverse course and not be coarse. Her self-absorbed children shout publicly their love is unselfish, coupled with unlimited energy. Reality, the words are lip service to their mother, as well as other close relationships. No discernment of the truth, but the smiles and artificial happiness continues unless the exceptional style of love overcomes hate. The kiss of death is not beautiful like Marilyn Monroe's kiss. And I really think the reason I put in there that if somebody is narcissistic and very manipulative and egotistical, I really do think it impacts their children as they grow into adulthood. And I think that they, they take on some of those qualities, and the relationships become more artificial than really based upon love and caring.
Not manipulative.
Exactly. Exactly.
That
Really,
that really
really
goes,
great.
and the excuses of why,
Yeah. Yes.
why
Yeah.
they're like they are.
Yeah. And I think a lot of egotistical manipulate, they'll go to any extreme to try to
They begin to believe their lies.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people like that do not lie. They lie until they believe their own lies, and then it just becomes, there's no backing out, and then they forget what they said, and sometimes, they just pull you in. I don't know about other people, but I'm a very compassionate person.
Yes.
And I choose not to judge anybody at all by anybody else's standards or what they say about them. I deal with that person myself, and I make my own, not judgments,
just gotta,
assessments of what I'm hearing. And I tend to go a little bit overboard compassionately, and that I have to guard against, because it's very easy for me to be manipulated if I'm not careful.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, yes.
I think people with good hearts are easily manipulated, and you're right, you have to have discernment. You have to learn discernment.
Exactly. I just got a message from Masimi. She has COVID.
Oh my gosh, our poor little Missy. I love her.
I
Oh,
know,
yeah,
I feel so bad for
absolutely.
her. Yeah, she has COVID, she just told me.
Okay.
So that's, that's why she's not here. And Mary Lynn, do you have another poem?
No, I didn't prepare for another poem,
No, I
and
didn't either. So I was just looking
I,
to see if I
I,
have some. I just have
well,
one, but
maybe we should just talk about it. I mean, the things that we find. Like I was going to say, and talk about my poem that I read earlier. I mean, if you want me to read that again, I'll read it again. But like I said,
I have I have one that I read
go ahead and
before
read it.
about demeaning behavior. But you can read yours, then I'll read mine again. So
Well, I said
I
I
think,
don't have another one. I was just going to comment
oh,
on mine.
did you were gonna comment on the one that you
Yeah,
read?
I remember I said I would comment later because I knew we were going to talk about it whenever we got finished. But you go ahead and read your poem, and then I'll do.
Okay, I've read it before when we did demeaning behavior, but I'm reading it again because demeaning behavior happens from people who are egotistical and arrogant. So it's called
Absolutely.
demeaning behavior. When someone is degraded, ridiculed, and abused in this fashion, sometimes it's hard to see, covered up by the surreptitious behavior of the perpetrators. It can go unnoticed for years, swept under the rug of life, and accepted by the victim as normal. This demeaning behavior degrades human beings until they are little more than empty vessels, devoid of feeling or desires and serving only this master or mistress. Sometimes it is culturally acceptable and never changed and goes on for centuries, codified by tradition. No one deserves to be demeaned by another for someone else's ends, forced to abide by the whims of a tyrant, their lives tattered by the destruction of their pride, brought down by the vicious and underhanded treatment of these victims. And what of the victims who have lived through this torture? Will they ever be able to feel safe and loved? When their every move is legislated by the passions of another, this can never be. And after they escape such a fate, they may not be able to live a normal life, for they have never led one. Will they ever know human kindness or the soft touch of another? Or will they be doomed to a life of sorrow and misery, always trying to catch up and never succeeding with bruised egos and spotty confidence, with the demeaning voices forever in their heads, telling them they will never be any good, and reliving all of the old miseries to keep their faith in themselves at an ebb? And I think demeaning behavior is what happens when egotistical and arrogant people are left to be on their own. And we have been talking about that kind of thing. So that's what
Right.
it's kind of from the victim's point of view.
And you're right. It has the potential to destroy some people's egos, and I think that can lead to substance abuse, such as alcoholism or drugs, because they have lost their self confidence, and it's totally been, destroyed. And some will recover, but many will not, and that once again will either lead to suicide, as Mary Lynn mentioned earlier, or it'll just lead to a horrible, unhappy life, and a life where no trust will ever be with another human. And I think that is very, very sad. So that's a powerful poem. I'm going to read another one. It's really real short. It's called "A Person That Presents Themselves as Perfect is Hiding Their Dangerous Imperfections. Narcissistic behaviors they savor that have no sweet flavor."
It's good, very good, very good. Absolutely.
That was wonderful.
Well,
And
you won't find me writing too many of these kind of poems. That's why I don't have them in the. That's
your
not
poems,
this is not my thing at all, you know.
We
and
understand that.
very
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
your poems are very uplifting and
Yeah, and I
they're
just don't go
Inspirational.
there.
right? And
No,
I have written poems about everything, so
Yeah.
it's like yeah, this kind of thing I write when something bothers me about the way people are treated, and I think Melissa feels the same way, that we are bothered by the treatment of others, and I know you are too, Mary Lynn, but you have a higher power that you answer to, and you
but
always
I
are able
did,
to
like
find
I
an
did say,
answer there. Yeah.
this poem that I wrote came from a real experience that God gave me the words to say to try to help this person get through this time of her life, because it would have devastated me for somebody to talk to me like that. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
I've had people, you know, at times in my life that caused me to devastate. In fact, one time when I grew up, I was very insecure because my family was, you know, well, I don't want to go into that, but I didn't trust any of my family. I didn't. The only person I trusted in my life were two people: my grandfather and my grandmother. Did not trust my mother. Did not trust my dad because just because. Okay, I don't go into it, but anyway,
No, you don't have to go.
because of that, uh, because of my, well, maybe I do need to. No, I don't either. Anyway, I felt very insecure in relationships, and I didn't think I was as good as other people. And I won't go into that, but I did not. And at the age of like 16, I cried a lot, but nobody knew it. Nobody knew it. In fact, in school, I was the girl that everybody came to with their problems to tell me and get my advice on how to do it. But yet inside, I was just the opposite, you know. But I knew what I wanted and I could give them good advice. And so, but then later, I was taking a course in college, ethics course, and I had a wonderful professor. And I went to the professor one day and I said, called his name, and I said, you know, I don't know why it is, professor, but you know, we lived here in Florida, you know, where the fruit pickers and everything. And I said, and I didn't mean it in a derogatory way, but I said, you know, a dirty fruit picker could come up to me and say, I don't like you. And I said, do you know that that would keep me awake all night long? I wouldn't be able to sleep. And I would wonder why. Why would he say that to me? You know, why would he say that to me? And it just would devastate me, you know. But anyway, I think that's why I have so much compassion for people who are done this way, because you don't know what's in that person's, you know, you don't know what that person has been through that may make them a little bit different than you. And so many people are not willing to go there. They're not willing to give that person that try to see, you know, they don't really, the thing is, they don't really care. You know, we say we have 10 commandments. No, we don't. We have 11. Jesus gave us the last commandment, and he said to love one another as I have loved you. Now, how are you going to do that and do somebody like that? You can't. You can't. You know, and anyway, this poem that I wrote, this lady, the person who did this, that said this, believe it or not, was her mother.
Oh,
Sad.
You can imagine that her mother said this.
Mary,
that
would
was-
you read the first part of that poem? Because I missed it.
You know, if that was said in public, it's hard to say what she says in a private session. It's a
Exactly,
whole lot
exactly.
worse.
Yeah.
Could you read the first part of that
Yeah,
poem?
let me get
Yeah.
it. It's better for me to read it pulled up. So let me, whoop, that's the wrong one. Let me get, I think well, I'll have to read it here because I've already taken it off of here because I already read it. I'll read it from what I wrote, what I printed out. Okay, it's called, You Say I'm Worthless. You say I'm worthless, that I'm no good. Your words hurt me deeply, causing me to cry. Tears flowed down my cheeks from my eyes. Who made you the judge of God's creation? He says I'm a cause for celebration. He says that I'm the apple of his eye. He loved me so much, he was willing to die. He dances and sings over me. I'm his child, and from sin, I'm free. That's his story. I will be with him in glory. Of course, if you don't agree, you can pray and talk to him, and one day we will see.
Okay, that's
But see,
Approximately how,
Hmm?
approximately how old is the lady that was demeaned by her mother?
You're not going to believe it. She's 62.
oh
So
my
she's
goodness.
she's had it all of her life then.
All of her life. All
Right.
of her life.
Her mother is still alive and calling her
Oh,
worthless
yeah. Her mother's 80.
and
I think that
calling her worthless.
Yeah. Yeah.
you really have a low self-esteem when you're egotistical or you demean other people. You really have a low self-esteem that you're trying to lift it up in the inappropriate ways.
I think there's a
Just,
bar that parents and loved ones should not ever go past. And I think calling a child worthless is something that you
Horrible.
should
well, you
never.
know what? If you come and think about it, if your child is worthless, whose fault is that? Whose
It,
fault is it? Most
well,
of the
it
time.
could be yours, but it could
Yeah,
also, yeah.
at 6, yeah, yeah. But you know what? At that, there's absolutely no excuse for those kind of words. If you're gonna if you're gonna say something, you build them up. You give
Was
them
this
Absolutely.
motivation. You encourage them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You don't do that. You don't do that.
was this
I
woman
wouldn't do
in her
that to my
right
worst enemy.
mind? Was
I
she
wouldn't either. Mary Lynn, I wouldn't do it to a stranger. I wouldn't do that.
she have dementia or Alzheimer's? Was there something wrong with her, the mother?
No, no. Just the opposite.
She's just
Just
one
the
of those
opposite.
people that all her life her children worthless.
She is a religious person. She is a high achiever. She is educated. She is all of this stuff. I don't understand it, and I'm not going to judge her either. Period. I'm not going to.
No, but
I'm just
still,
saying that her actions are not right.
Now,
You
her
know,
actions.
I don't
calling
know
someone
we don't know
worthless.
what's
Yeah.
in her life. We don't know
Yeah.
what's causing her to do that. I'm just saying I don't approve of the behavior. I don't accept that behavior at all. Like I said, I would not do that or say that to my worst enemy.
And
I
even,
don't want those kind of words coming out of my mouth.
and even if it is something that has caused that for you to conduct yourself with that type of behaviors, you cannot have displaced emotions to another person.
That's right.
If I'm upset because I have to pay taxes, I cannot take it out on Mary Lynn and say something inappropriate to Mary Lynn. And so
No, that's terrible. That's I don't think I've ever said that to my children, that you're worthless. Because saying that to somebody is so demeaning to you as a person. I don't think I've ever been called worthless. That's so cruel to
Yes,
tell
it really
someone
is.
they're worthless. It
You
means,
can imagine what it did to me when I heard it.
oh,
yeah, And you're right, it's energy that impacts you. Those words impacts us as well when we hear such negativity, and it's not good. And that's what
Well,
makes your
not good
poetry
at
good,
all.
Lynn, is it's always, like Barbara was saying, it's always uplifting, it's always beautiful, it's always, encouraging people. It's always has a beautiful light to it. And that's the way you are, and it comes out on your poetry.
Thank God, huh?
And that does show your compassionate side. And I'm a very compassionate person also, which is not a good thing. I'm a very empathetic person, which is not a good thing. But I have learned how to control that most of the time, not always.
Well, I
And
don't agree that it isn't a good thing. I don't
well,
think being compassionate and empathetic is
well,
a good
it's
thing in certain cases.
it's good and bad. It can be your very best quality, but it can also be your worst quality. It's
Anything out of control is no good.
yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. Your best quality out of control is not good, you know.
No.
So you
True.
have to have a balance.
Yeah, you do. You have to
a
find that
balance. Yeah.
yes, you do. And that takes discernment, and that takes sometimes maturity before you have that balance.
Right.
And
Like
that's
you were
why
talking,
it's important that we protect our kids
yes,
against these kind of things until they get mature enough to be able to deal with them, you know. And you know what I learned too when I was telling you about talking to this professor, you know, he got to the bottom of why I felt this way. And believe it or not, it had to do with my mom. You know, so we had to go way back to get rid of that to set me straight. But then also later in life, I ran across a very manipulative person that would give me anxiety so bad I had to go to the doctor to take a little sedative a little bit to keep me from getting so upset about it. And then he just told me, well, you know what? That person is just one step away from a caveman. And what you're going to have to do is all of these things that he says to you, you're going to have, you know what he's going to do, and you know how it's going to affect you. You got to have an answer for him for the next time he says it. You cannot allow him to say that to you. Cannot allow him to get away with saying that to you because he respects you to start with, or he wouldn't be with you. And he's trying to control you. But the thing he loves about you is the fact that you're not that way. So you need to have an answer for him. Think about it. Think about what he says to you. Have an answer for him so that the next time he says it, you're going to be prepared. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. And
What was your answer?
When he came across, no, there were different things. You had different things he would say, you know. And anyway, you had to have an answer for each one of them. And then when he came with that one, you took that answer. And you know what? The first time I ever came back to him with an answer, his mouth dropped open. What?
Yeah.
You know, and that was the end of it. That was the end of it.
Bullies don't like to be confronted.
No, I think it's important to tell somebody if they're hurting you, that they're hurting you, and to stop them at that moment, because that kind of behavior is demeaning. And we talked about demeaning behavior, and egotistical and arrogant people thrive on demeaning behavior. That's what they do.
Yeah, they want to put their accolades out there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They're comparing themselves with you, you know.
Yeah.
And they're so much better than you are, you know, and they want everybody to know how great they are and how you don't measure up. And I just cannot stand that. Cannot stand
Yeah. And I think it is important to express your feelings to somebody that their words have hurt you, but it all depends upon your age as well. You know, if you're a teenager, more than likely you would not be able to say those things, or maybe even a young person, and or a person that has authority over you, maybe your boss or somebody that you know that if you respond, then you have the potential of losing your job, especially for people that do not have a backup financial resource, that they pretty much are stuck in those type of situations. And I worked for a gentleman one time that was very demeaning to everybody in the office. And there was one lady that every day I'd come in, she'd cry because he had hurt her. And he used to do a lot of things that were not correct. And, I was pretty much in there as the financial manager before I started. This was before I went to UK hospital. And he even tried to get me to sign off on something that was not accurate, which was against corporate policy. He left me instructions to do that because he was taking the day off. Of course, I did not do that. And so I hate to say this because it's really not my nature. But, Bob was demeaning to everybody, and he was trying to be very demeaning to me. And I told him, I said, Bob, I said, I would never let my husband talk to me like that. I'm not going to let you talk to me like that. I'm not going to let any man talk to me like that. You're not a gentleman. And so he went on saying he was going to write me up, blah, blah, blah. And this is what I said to him. Very calmly, very politely. I said, Bob, you can kiss my ass.
We have somebody connecting. We have a guest.
Of course, I had to
I
leave
don't know who it is.
position.
but
I
they
resigned from my
can-
position. I didn't get fired, but I resigned. I don't know who this is. I don't recognize that.
I don't know. I don't know who that is.
I recognize it.
Unmute
Better get rid
yourself,
of them
please.
then.
Oh, hello.
Oh, it's Priya
Hi.
Lakshmi.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, Melissa, ma'am. Hello, Barbara, ma'am.
Hi, you don't have your name there, so we didn't.
We weren't sure who you were. Hello.
Hello, we are talking
Hello.
about the demeaning behavior of egotistical and arrogant people. And we would love you to share your poem about egotistical and arrogant people.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Uh, should I read my poem?
Yes, please. And
Okay.
please introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay. So I'm Priyanka Banerjee here, an academician and poet from Kolkata, India. And today I have come here to read out my poem on the negative impact of arrogant behavior. But as I always do, I have written a poem which has a symbolical connotation. I mean, I generally avoid writing poem about facts. So I love to fictionalize the theme in my own innovative, radical way. So this is a poem in which I have dealt with the the pain and the sorrows of women who have to tolerate the arrogant behavior of their lovers. And I have borrowed the name of the protagonist, the woman, Porphyria, from Robert Browning's poem Porphyria's Lover. So I am reading out my poem here. The title of my poem is, the title of Browning's poem is Porphyria's Lover. And here the title of my poem is The Lover of Porphyria, because the arrogance of the lover of behavior of Porphyria, has been highlighted. And I have also tried to use a dramatic monologue type technique here in this poem, though it's not a dramatic monologue. Okay, so I'm reading out my poem. He rushed into the room of Porphyria and kissed her harshly. With blood-stained eyes, pressing her close to his bosom arrogantly, Love stirred up the center of the earth, the room. As he vomited out liquor on her unfolded bosom. With a hawk's thirst in his throat, he asked her about her repressed past. Love didn't last forever, though bites threatened her soft body's celestial lust. Shouts and shrieks couldn't heal up fast the wounds of dead centuries. His furies subvert the meat of the blue marmot's infinite love, her last kiss. Let the sea of infinite light empower her third eye that burns in those secluded hours of midnight and unfold the saga of a deadliest fight, forcing the silent, chaotic, arrogant world to pay heed to a woman's charismatic cosmos tonight, every night.
Oh,
Here my
wow.
poem is, ma'am.
Wow.
Wow. Powerful.
It's a
Yeah.
symbolical poem basically. So
Very good.
I have
Very
tried
good.
thank you, madam. Tried to use the image of the third eye also in my poem.
No, that was really great. And it talks about, you were talking about how people feel when they are faced with arrogant behavior from an egotistical person. And this is an example of somebody who is being demeaned by someone in a what it would seem to be a loving way, but really she is forced to, you know,
Endure.
Yeah.
surrender to
And
this.
how the myth of love is subverted because of this arrogant behavior. Love does no more exist in this postmodern world, but arrogance exists. That is the only reality. That
Exactly,
exists.
exactly. We're talking about arrogance and the way arrogance shows itself, even, you know, not in private life, but in public life, and how we have had to deal with it. And Melissa was just talking about a person who was very
Yes, I know.
arrogant as a boss. And you come across people like this who are egotistical and arrogant and expect you to follow their rules because they are in charge, you know, and that people in charge should not be arrogant. They are, you know, in charge because they were put there for a reason and not to demean people by their, you know, behavior. And so, have you ever run across anyone who has demeaned you or others in public like that?
Yes, recently I left my job because of the arrogant behavior of the school secretary.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the arrogant attitude of the committee members. I simply left the job because they were always threatening me, you know, every day, why this is happening, that is happening, and they were asking me, questioning me in such an arrogant way that I felt humiliated. And being an academician and a writer, I thought that perhaps I deserve a job which is much better than this kind of, slavery.
Yes.
Sweet, but generally that people, but actually
Yeah.
if we fail to do that, because you know often it is because of lity, right? So this kind of cultural gap, you know, how will you be able to adjust with it if there is any cultural gap, isn't it? So
No,
that is
I
why
understand that. Yeah, I understand that because I also was in a job where I was being demeaned and attacked by the principal of that school. And I unfortunately did not leave before she fired me. she fired me, and I had lots of years of teaching, and I had never run across anyone quite like her. And then she fired me, and then her behavior was so demeaning when I had my my uh, um, you know, investigation, and she was supposed to show up. I had to go down there to this place 4 times before she showed up. And the last time she showed up with the superintendent. And so I was outclassed because the union leader did not expect her to come with the superintendent. And then I was just like, there's no way that I could deal with this, 2 people against 1. And it was very arrogant and egotistical. And I was totally demeaned, and unfortunately in a situation I couldn't help. So I know how that feels, and that's a very damaging feeling, to be in public in a situation like this. I mean, we can talk about things that are happening right now here in the United States with our former president and the way he demeaned a woman and refused to accept his the fact that he had raped her. Oh,
Well, you know, Barbara, right
It
now,
is a
he has not been prosecuted for any wrongdoing, so I think that we should let this be alleged at this time. Same
okay,
with
alleged. Let's just say
same with
alleged.
President Clinton. You can go back to him where he had a lot of alleged rapes against him as well. So I think discussing our political leaders right now on alleged charges is probably inappropriate for this forum.
Okay, we won't. But I will say there is a lot in public. And how cute. That's your daughter, Priyanka?
Yes.
That
Yes,
was
ma'am.
your daughter. That was your daughter.
Yeah, I can't understand you. Voice is breaking. Hello.
Oh no, was that your daughter? Your
I?
daughter who just hugged you.
Oh yeah. Hey, Mama medication. Yes, she is very much interested in poetry, and she loves to interact. আচ্ছা, এখানে এসো একটু। আচ্ছা, এখানে এসো, এখানে এসো। She loves to interact with Americans very much. She loves.
Oh,
এদিকে আচ্ছা, কিছু পারতে হবে না, এদিকে আসো। ডাকছে তো তোমাকে, এদিকে এসো, এসো। তার নামটা বলে দাও।
We said hi. Tell her we said hi.
hi. Where is she? Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, good. Well, you're pretty. You're very pretty. You're
Pretty
very
like her
pretty.
mommy.
And what is your name?
What is your name? What name? Oh, her name is Devapriya Banerjee.
Hi.
Did you hear it? Yes.
Hi.
Actually, she is very enthusiastic about everything: study, drawing, dance, swimming, everything. And my
Wonderful,
son,
wonderful. That's
my
great.
son is not interested in anything. So, but she is very smart, very cute, and very obedient, and she loves everything. Very
Beautiful.
enthusiastic. Yeah, and I'm trying to, make her suitable for this society. I
You're
mean,
doing
she
a
must.
very nice job. She looks like she's very cultured.
Yes,
She knows
yes,
what to
very
do.
calm. Yes, she is not arrogant. She is not arrogant.
I
But
think this
actually,
is a good thing to talk about now, since we have a child here.
Yes.
The ways that we can teach our children not to be arrogant and
But
egotistical.
madam, my son is very arrogant. I cannot change him. I don't know how he will change. I don't know that, but I'm trying my best. But she is not arrogant. She is obedient. She listens to my words, and she is I'm very happy with my girl child. Who says that, you know, a boy is much better than a girl? I just don't believe it.
Well, in
Yeah, ma'am.
India, yeah,
Yes,
in
in India,
India, you have this cultural problem
yeah, in India still,
in history
yes,
that
this cultural
women were
problem.
not, yes, considered
Yeah, yeah,
as
women.
good.
Actually, even now also, ma'am, here patriarchal domination is going on very much. I mean,
Yeah.
women, yeah, women cannot assert their rights at home. Women cannot work, or, you know, they cannot speak up truth. They always have to adjust, compromise with untruth. And being a very straightforward woman, I have always rejected to do these things. So I'm a bad daughter-in-law.
Well, join the
And a
club.
very
I was too. I was very much
and
the same way. Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, and a very bad wife also. I can't help it. I cannot be a good wife in this life, but I'm trying to be a good mother. I'm trying to be a good writer, a scholar, academician. Everything is fine, but I cannot be a good daughter-in-law. It's beyond my power. In India, you have to sacrifice everything, and only then you can be a good daughter-in-law. And you see, actually, women are now, you know, much more independent than they were before, isn't it? But
It's a
I do
work in
not support,
progress.
yeah, but I do not support the idea of a fragmented family, because in
No.
India now, many women, they are not, you know, they are refusing to take the responsibility of their in-law. So that is also not good. Again, on the other hand, in-laws and husbands are forcing daughter-in-laws and wives to adjust with everything. It's something that is not good. That is also not the proper way, isn't it? So each and every individual being has her own freedom, his or her own freedom.
Mhm.
So that is the problem in India, because here people are still very conservative about everything, and male dominated society, madam. Very much male dominated society. Even I'm telling you a truth, being a writer, I have seen it, I have experienced it, that many male writers are so jealous of me as well as other women writers if they find me, you know, reaching a great height of success. So why a woman is achieving all these things? We male writers are here flexing muscles, speaking of truth, and we can write so well. So why a talented woman, you know, does exist in this society? Why does a
Amen.
talented woman? Yeah, in the world of writing, ma'am, so much of jealousy, I have felt it. Gender distinction is very much present. Whereas in the United States, I think that this kind of manipulation or politicization of gender inequality doesn't exist. But in the colonized countries, this exists in a violent form, madam.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
But don't
yeah,
forget,
yeah.
it took us a long time to get where we are.
Really pushed. We had a lot of controversy. Women were not accepted as they should have been. Very great writers were not accepted as they should have been. Women are now coming to the point where we are equal in the publishing world with men. I think there are
Yes.
many, many women who are accepted and in the publishing world, but still, I think that there are some men who are controlling it still. I think it's still controlled by men.
Even, madam, I would also like to highlight another thing, that is, I have experienced it, that if a woman wants to lead her life independently, you know, that is also not allowed by the male members of the society. Again and again, people ask me, or they, you know, they try to mold me, to melt my heart, and they always try to manipulate me. And if I oppose them strongly, then they are, doing all types of things which basically go against my writing career.
Mm.
So you can understand, even at the sexual level also, this kind of gender inequality is creating a massacre every day. So if you are not pampering them, if you refuse to pamper them, other writers, male writers, if you refuse to get provoked by them, to get manipulated by them, or if you refuse to simply, what I do, I simply block out those people who send me any kind of messages that, make me feel embarrassed. So that action of yours should be considered as a great insult, and they will immediately try to, harass me, embarrass me, insult me, or to, scandalize me, or they manipulate others so that I cannot progress, much in the world of writing. So this kind of egoist sensation, I must say, is dominating the society, and I'm very much against it. I
Absolutely. Well, you
always,
just
that is
keep writing. You just keep writing.
Yeah, you're very talented,
I-
very
I
gifted.
think you should continue writing, and that,
yes,
just accept that you're going to have to deal with those kinds of people. I understand what you're talking about. Very, very lauded poets do send you messages, and some of them harass you, and we've all dealt with that, I'm sure. And you just keep writing. I mean, don't let a man stop you from writing. You're
exactly.
talented. Your words should be heard. And it doesn't matter what sex you are, your words should be heard, And we in the United States, we try very hard to be equal, but I think in some cases there is a problem somewhere, not with us, but some people do find gender discrimination. I
Yeah.
think there is gender
But
discrimination.
ma'am, you see this initiative of yours, I mean, through these webinars, you are empowering so many women. Even I also derive inspiration from your words. Just now, Mary ma'am, Marisa ma'am, Barbara ma'am, you all told me how you counseled me to go on to keep writing. So through these kinds of webinars, poetry competition, poetry webinars, discussions, you are giving the lead to the world. So the leadership, so this leadership is coming from the United States.
Well,
And
we
that
have
is the
less.
that is the land of brave women, because our Vivekananda was in love with the women of America. And so many years ago, he said that American women are so bold and brave. Indian women must learn from them.
Absolutely.
So,
And it is a fight. In my generation, when I first started, women were not in the man's world as far as working was
Yeah,
concerned.
I agree.
I was the first woman in my company. The rest of everybody in my company, and it was a big company, were all men. So I had to face all of these men. You learn a lot, but don't think it's easy. It is not easy. And your women are going to have to want it as bad as we did. You've heard the saying, it's your blood. Until you spill your blood, you don't know what it's really about. So this is all I can say. You keep writing and you keep fighting, and you get your women over there to do the same thing. It's not going to be an easy turn. It's not going to be one generation. It's going to take your daughters and your daughters' daughters to get this thing done.
yes.
But it will be done if you continue to do it.
Well,
Be
it
positive of that.
is a male dominant world still.
Yes.
So there
Yeah.
is a certain amount of gender discrimination in the United States of America, but I do think that as females that we are blessed and we have a lot of opportunities. And most exciting time that I had was, I worked in healthcare and I was on one of the floors rounding on patients. And all of a sudden there was a female attending physician. All of her residents and medical students were all females. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is a first for me to see that the whole medical team is an attending physician, and residents, you know, they're medical physicians as well, but they're still undergoing a lot of training. And it was so exciting. And now in the United States, about 50% of all medical schools are females. And now don't get me wrong, there's females that are not very nice as well, and there's females who demean other people, and there's females who demean each other. So we have to lift each other up. And I do think there's probably more opportunities, but it's not a perfect society. And as Betty Ford, former First Lady of the United States, paraphrase her, she said, the world will not be free until women are free. And that has to be across the globe.
And another thing that I would love to point out, ma'am, I'm forgetting the name of the critic, but she said that we should write through our bodies. That is something I feel, I experience every moment. Oh, ma'am, another humorous matter I would like to point out. As because I post my selfies along with my poems, so that again creates a star in the minds of the male intellectuals. And they often question me that you are showing off your body. I said, no, dear, even universities also advertise by posting pictures. And these universities are temples of learning. So very few people in India read English poems. So if I feel connected with my poem, if a particular mood of mine reads one particular poem, and if one particular selfie of mine reflects that particular temperament of mine, then what's wrong in posting a selfie along with the poem, right, ma'am?
No,
I'm not
absolutely right.
exposing my body. I'm just wearing a very a good dress, and I'm just posting a selfie. So many people question me about that. And I said that the artists are doing music videos. Why? Right? So there is, yeah, and I always feel that women have the power to write through their bodies, because
Yes.
we are mothers. We have wombs. We feel the pain of menstruation. We feel the burden of womb. Now, okay, so each and every curve of our body creates a different sensation in the mind of a female writer. So that is one thing which is very important, that is writing to your body. Right, ma'am? I don't know whether I can express it. What I mean is not something erotic or sexuality. I mean that a woman's body has something to convey which a man cannot do. Because we women experience the cosmos in a completely different and radically innovative way. The cosmos is reflected through us. And that is why a woman writer can be so dynamic and so wonderful. And I think that the world cannot produce a second Sylvia Plath or a second Maya Angelou, who wrote like Stars I Will Rise, or a phenomenal woman. So that is something I always glorify women writers. So I will go on doing that.
And when they were, and when they were writing, oh, look, Sujata is here.
But, you know, unfortunately, I think a lot of men only deem women as sexual objects. And
Yes.
so when you place a picture on Facebook, or, you know, include it with your poem, then, you know, a lot of men perceive it as that. I know when I first started hitting the poetry world, you know, you don't know how many sexual harassment messages that I got from males who were allegedly honorable, noble gentlemen in the poetry world. You know, and these people, I probably could have had them banned from the forums that I was an administrator. I did not take those actions. I just got to the point where I would ignore them. And yeah, I
Yes.
think it is a form of demeaning. It's harassment and it's wrong.
It is. Hello, Sujata.
Hi, Sujata, sorry.
Hello, Sujata. We have
Hi,
Sujata.
hi, hi everyone. I am extremely sorry I'm
Hello.
late due to an offline program. Extremely sorry to
Okay,
join.
we were
Good to
talking
see
about
you.
we cannot see your face, your sweet face. We cannot see.
Okay.
I can see her. Can you not
I
see
can
her?
see her. Yeah.
I can see her too. It's
Is
kind
it
of
okay?
blurry.
Is it okay
but I
now?
can see her.
Yeah, I see you.
I can see her.
It's raining
can't
here
see
and
you.
I have just come back from an
Ah,
offline program. So I'm really sorry to join late.
No,
Extremely sorry
that's
for that.
fine. You look beautiful. We were late. I was late. I got up late. So Melissa woke me as always. But
Thank you
I
everyone.
and my puppy.
So after a long time, I am watching everyone in a single frame.
So you saw us, you couldn't have seen this because we didn't put this on yet, but I'm so glad you could join us. Do you have a poem about egotistical and arrogant behavior?
Yeah. I have a poem.
Please read it.
Should I read? Yeah, sure. So I'll be reading out my poem, entitled, uh, He is All Alone. Ram had a pretty wife, a cute princess, a beautiful mansion where they lived together for years. But nowadays, he is all alone due to his arrogance, not only with the employees engaged by him for hope, but also his misbehavior with his family members. He might have huge bank balance, name, fame, or 5-story laws, but all are in vain, as he has lost his dear and near ones for this particular cause. He had the minus point that he gets short-tempered easily, broke the important housely things. If his wife told or warned him politely, he misbehaved with them badly. Hence, they left him forever. Now he is all alone inside the four wall.
Okay, I
Can
muted
you hear me?
everybody, so because there was some kind of noise, so please unmute. Please unmute yourselves. Yeah, okay.
I remember it's very difficult for Mary Lynn.
Didn't you hear my poem?
yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes,
Yes,
Sujata
we
ji, I
did.
heard
Beautiful. It was
very
perfect.
beautiful.
The noise
So
is the
much
wind.
beautiful.
Yes.
The noise is you're hearing is the wind.
Yeah, it's your fan, I think, Priyanka. Your fan,
Yes.
yeah, your fan was causing the noise.
Yeah.
No, don't turn it off. I'm sure it's very hot there.
No, it's okay. The ceiling fan is there. No need to know.
No, that's and then you won't have your hair all over the place. I know it must be very hot there. It's not hot here. It's been raining where I am, but it's not hot yet.
It's very
Beautiful
hot.
poem, Sujata.
Yeah, Sujata, where are you? You're in where are you located?
Hello?
Hello, where are you
Hello,
located?
Sujata.
Where in India are you located?
Whether in India.
Yeah,
Huh?
where in India are you located?
Yeah. I am actually presently I am living in Tripura, northeastern part of India.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a small hilly state and very beautiful one. And I would like to
After heaven.
request all of you to come once in India and visit my state too.
Oh, I would love
That's a
to.
heaven.
I would love to. If I
Yeah.
get to India, I'm coming to visit everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And this particular northeastern regions is called seven northeast sisters like Tripura, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, all these 7 states, Sikkim, all these are called together 7 sisters, and Tripura, where I belong, is one of the 7 sisters. Very beautiful. Please do come and enjoy our scenic
Is
beauty.
it in the
there.
north or the south or the east?
Yes,
Where are you
Yeah, yeah.
located?
In the north.
In the north.
northeastern part of India. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And I stay in the
And
eastern part
Kolkata
of
is my
India.
native land. Yeah, Kolkata is my native land where Priyanka is living. And it's
Very
also a great city of joy. Very famous,
No,
well-known place.
sorry, city of pollution. City of pollution and corruption. Very hot, smoky, city of pollution and corruption. But I
Pollution is everywhere.
stay-
One can't as a certain
Yes.
I mean, one can say that my city is not polluted or fully free of pollution. Everywhere
But,
pollution is there, but comparatively, our India is congested and polluted.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love to breed children. Breed many children. And my hometown is located beside the Ganges. So Barbara ma'am, Melissa ma'am, Mary ma'am, that is the plus point that I have. My hometown Uttar Pradesh is located just beside the Ganges. So
Yeah, that's why.
yes, and the ghats of Ganges have been decorated wonderfully. And the government nowadays don't allow anybody to throw plastics or anything, any rubbish into the water of the Ganges. So that is something positive that is happening now.
Good,
Good.
good.
Good. And they
Wonderful.
still, of course, they still bathe in the Ganges and they still do ceremonies in the Ganges, right, Priyanka?
The
Yes, ma'am.
Ceremonies.
of
Death
the
ceremonies.
death ceremonies in the Ganges with the
They still do
ashes.
Yeah.
that, right? Yeah. So-
Death ceremonies.
Yeah, so we are discussing, Sujata, the behaviors of arrogant and egotistical people. So have you ever come across this kind of behavior? In your poem, it was evident you have.
Yes, right now, just I have tried to display or try to highlight the message that due to arrogance or any egoistic problem, what could be the consequence of this ill feeling, and it's very dangerous. I have already tried to display this message in my poem, and in practical life too. Already we come across or we come to know from so many places that due to this kind of particular ill feeling, so many families have been suffering from. So we should be careful, and if we come across or if we experience this ill feeling, we should warn or we should show the real path to those innocent victims who are suffering from this ill feeling.
So what do you think we can do? This is a question for everyone, to stop this egotistical and arrogant behavior. How can we here as poets, how can we stop this kind of behavior. You can go to Melissa first. Do you have an answer?
Yeah, according to me, if we prevent poverty and if people get educated or learned, this thing could be eradicated. Because if one is conscious about himself or he is conscious about his surroundings, and if he or she himself or herself is conscious about this about the consequence of this ill feeling, he can handle this situation and he can show the way to others. But if he himself or she herself is not aware of this thing, then the disorder happens, or it is must. So education is must, and then awareness, and we can create awareness through different kind of what to say, meetings, or we can take the help of any NGOs or any help from the advocates. It can be done through different kind of meetings in schools or in different public meeting, so that the mob gets aware. Otherwise, it's not possible, because government could not help in this case. We ourselves, that is personally, if we are aware, everything will be possible. So
Okay. That was-
unitedly, we should come forward to look or to handle the situation.
Yeah, I agree. A moral foundation is based upon how your parents raise you, your educational, your teachers, and your place of worship. And I think it's very important that at that time that children know that egotistical confidence is a good thing. It's okay to be very confident and be very self-assured, just as long as you're not demeaning other people. But in the poetry world, I think it's very important that we do not, of course, we do not plagiarize, and we do not steal phrases or things that other people use on a regular basis. I have seen that very often, and that we always give credit where credit is due. We do not take credit for other people's projects, other people's works, or even set the attitude towards everybody. This is something that you accomplished when you did not. And I think it's very important ethical behavior. And I really think that if you're not trained when you're a child to have that moral foundation, that it's difficult for older people, not that they cannot accomplish, transitioning into people that are very nice people. But we all should work on that, and we all should develop those skills, and we need to develop those skills in young people. And as a teacher, Sujata, you probably are well aware of a lot more things with children than the rest of it. Well, Barbara was a teacher as well. So you have a full, awareness of children because you're teachers and plus mothers. And I applaud that. And so.
Mary Lynn?
Absolutely right, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
We teachers
Right,
should
Melissa.
come forward to handle this situation tactfully.
Academics and professors, they all must come forward, as well as the writers, especially the writers. And Shudatadi, being a wonderful woman, a talented woman who's organizing so many webinars all over the world, is doing a great task by instilling this spirit of awareness into the minds of common people. That's what exactly Barbara Ma'am, Melissa Ma'am, Mary Ma'am are also doing from the United States. And in India, we have our talented Shudatadi, who is going on doing all these things, like Goddess Durga with 10 hands. How can she manage all these things? I don't know, but almost every day she has a webinar. And she is uniting so many people from different parts of the world in such a wonderful way. So that is the first step towards, that she has taken towards that grand goal, which is yet to achieve. But we are moving towards that goal. So that is something interesting.
Mary
And we
Lynn?
all
And you're so to be congratulated for the steps that you are taking. Absolutely. Just a little step is better than not making any step at all. You know? And like I said, it's
True.
going to take
It's true.
generations.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna
as
take
a
generations to do this. But the only thing I can say, I have learned not to take demeaning people and arrogant and people like that to heart. You gotta kind of let it flow over your back, and just remember, like I said before in my poem, you don't know where that person has been or where they're coming from. The only thing you can do is really try to build them up, say something to build them up, whatever it is, don't go down to their level by doing what they do to you. No.
Yeah, so it's very difficult. I think there are a lot of people who are jealous, and so because they are jealous, in business especially, they try to demean people, and they're very egotistical and arrogant. And unfortunately, my daughter is now dealing with a woman who is like that, who is not allowing her to show her talents, and they're jealous of her, and they're not letting her shine. And unfortunately, that's a big thing. But I would say definitely start with the parents, start with the child, make sure that a child understands that they can be wonderful. You can tell them they're wonderful and everything, but because they're wonderful, it doesn't mean that they should make someone else feel bad. That the way that they deal with people is in a caring and loving way, and not in a way that will make someone feel bad. And of course, like Melissa said, don't take responsibility for something that you think is wrong because somebody is pushing you to do it. And we at Motivational Strips have had this problem. Don't steal people's work
Or their
because
pictures.
or their pictures, right?
Or their phrases or their style.
Or
I think we all have our
right,
own unique style, and that's what we should, that's why we are writers.
right. So if somebody admires you, that's one thing. And if
Oh,
they,
thank you.
yeah.
And not only that, don't toot your own horn.
Oh,
I hate
absolutely.
that. Oh boy,
Yeah.
do I hate that.
Yeah.
I have, well, I can't show you on my wall, but I got all kind of these awards and stuff. And I don't ever go on there and put those things up there. If somebody else wants to put them up there, that's fine, that's great, but I know who I am. I know who I am. I don't need other people to tell me that I'm a good writer or that no. But when somebody like you did tells me that my stuff means so much to them, that's all I need. That's all
I know.
need.
The other day, I received a compliment that just from a friend who read one of my poems, and it's April Poem a Day, so I've been putting my poems on the Writer's Digest comments. And so one of my friends from there and from life read one of my poems and said, something, that my breath caught. And I said, that is like when somebody reads something of yours and it catches their breath, then they just got the feeling that you had when you wrote it.
Right.
And so I think that's the best compliment of all, that you can get across what you wrote to somebody and get the same feeling that you had when you wrote it to them. And so
Yeah.
as poets, if you can get that feeling from people, then it's just wonderful. And it isn't, I know some people who are poets, and I know a particular poet, author, who is very, she toots her horn a lot. She is a toot her horn person. She will, but she also toots the horn of everyone that she comes in contact with. She
I know who you're
shouts
talking about.
we're talking about someone, I won't say her name, but
I won't
she
either.
shouts out
Don't need to, we know who it is.
because, yeah, she shouts out everybody's name so that everyone gets the glory. And so someone like that, you can't really say is arrogant. You can say she's just very, I think,
Animated.
animated, excited
Yes.
about her work and other people's work. And I think anybody who showcases other people's work should always be commended, because I don't know if everyone heard my show on Thursday, but on Thursday I had no guest because Levon was not feeling well. He hasn't gotten back to me, and I think he might have COVID too. And so Levon Robinson, who we know and love from his poetry that he fills our boxes with. He,
Ma'am,
yeah,
can I read out one poem of mine that I had written 2 years back? But it's a poem about mothers, grandmothers, and very powerful poem. Can I read it out?
sure, definitely, yes.
So, okay. This is a poem that I had written during that pandemic period.
We lost your video.
To the mother and all the mothers. That's the title of the poem. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
You're audible, but
we
just
can't
not
see
visual.
you.
Thank you. Move beyond the last limit. Embrace the infinite. Don't you have the right to see the light in my eyes? Defy the lies, the mysteries of life will awaken the slumbering soul. The toddler knows the art of uttering meaningless words of love. Life is more glorious than the heaven inhabited by your Lord. The beast is sacrificed for the last rites of the saint. The scars still haunt the angel. Purity is not a myth, and the dewdrop still shines behind the veil of evaporating mist. Don't you see the naked truth? Don't you see the hidden untruth? Don't you see how both truth and untruth create the slaughtered beast within me? As the warrior moves beyond the last limit with the untouched heart and sacred soul and the stubborn mind that refuse to find glories in the ashes of burnt up cigarettes or empty glasses that reflect the shining light of those houses where falling coins determine the purity of love or the sacredness of the body created out of a woman's bleeding womb. Apocalypse is transformed into epiphany. Blood drops are transformed into drops of rain. The prophetess chants the powerful words of love and pain. Horror is no more the horror of dreams and visions or the signifier of a devastated entity. Love conquers defiance. Passion trumps over the arrogance of bloodshot eyes and bloodless hearts that once derived pleasure out of our shrieks and screams. Tyranny and anarchy and eternal dilemma will vanish away like air bubbles or the fading light of the task that never kindle up the soul. Touched paths revolt against the vicious untruth. The mother again gives birth. The homeless child sings the song of joy and liberty. Dust and torn clothes give birth to a new saga of life, and the century celebrates the journey, the endless, restless, feminine journey of the mother. Do you still refuse to see the truth in my eyes? I don't care much for the deadly negation of lies. Miles to go before I die. I defy your truth. I defy your untruth. I refuse to drown into your blue sea full of hidden pearls, icebergs, dolphins, and merciless sharks. I love to become the voice of all the mothers, sisters, grandmothers, daughters, granddaughters. I reject the duns of lies. I know how a woman laps and the sinless sun shines. I rise, and I know that you know what the meat of the fall is, but still I do rise, and we together dare reject the lies. Thank you, madam.
Oh my goodness,
Oh, my
my
goodness.
goodness. Oh my, you talk about a poem making you feel
Priyanka.
something. That
Oh.
poem gave me chill bumps.
Absolutely.
Goodness.
Wow, that was amazing.
A
That was amazing.
wowza.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I had chill bumps all over me. Oh. Yeah.
We have Sujata. Did you want to say something? Sujata needs to leave. Is there anyone else who do you think we have covered this subject? I think we have covered this subject. So let's just say one thing before we leave. So we'll start with Sujata, who has to leave. So one thing before you leave. Okay. Sujata?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Just say one thing before you leave.
Actually, I am something busy with my daughter's affair as she is in standard 12. So for a few days, I just something busy and is not conducting any show. So it would be my request whenever I will start my show, please do join, and I would be happy if all of you again spread your message through your wonderful creations in my show. So please take care and stay
Sejita,
happy.
I would like to
you.
thank you so much for your videos
love
of my
that.
poems.
Thank you. And thank you. When you do come, please invite
Once
us.
again, greetings from India, and do take care yourself, everyone. Please take care. Namaskar. Priyanka,
Okay,
take
bye,
care yourself too.
Sujata.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
And now,
Sujata, did you hear what I said? Sujata, did you hear what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
I said, thank you so much for your videos of my poems. I really appreciate that. That one that you recorded was the one that I read today about, you know, the one I told you I couldn't post at that time because it was too hard to bear. And I'm sorry I couldn't post it right then, but I did read it today. And I thank you so much for making a video of that. I really do. I really appreciate it.
And
Thank you so very much. Thank you, ma'am. It's my recognition that all of you
I love you
bless
too.
me. Yeah. So
Sujata,
thank you.
Sujata,
ma'am.
thank you for uplifting other people. You're very good about uplifting other people.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Thank you. Everyone, take care yourself. Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
So we have, who else needs to speak? Oh, okay. We'll do Mary Lynn. Well, we'll do Mary Lynn, Melissa, and then Priyanka. So Mary Lynn, your last words for the group.
Well, from my standpoint, naturally, I say lift other people up, never put them down. Don't try to make yourself better than anybody else. You know, they will toot your horn if your horn needs tooting. And therefore you're not arrogant at all, or you're not, you know, you you need to just build other people up. But your character and your integrity speak for itself. That's all I have to say.
Great. Okay, and Melissa?
I think it's very good that we're all on the same page and we all have the same mindset about arrogant behavior, egotistical people, narcissistic people. And I do think it is important that we lift each other up in the world. And sometimes it really bothers me because I do not have the time to comment like I would like to on points. So you make it brief, but I would like to be very wordy many times about complimenting people. And I have no problems with people posting a certificate or their accolades, because a lot of people, you know, some of these are very prestigious awards that people win. But my problem is when I see that they have posted the same thing 50 different places.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
50 different places, but 50 different times. And I'm just like, you know, one time they're wearing a suit, the next time they're outside, you know, they just keep, you know, doing it. And I'm just like, you know, to me, that's tooting your horn. But just to let everybody know that you're proud of the fact that you won an award, or especially a prestigious award. I don't think that's tooting your horn. I think it's just sharing your. I think we should applaud each other in the poetry world. As women, we really have to stick together and not be condescending to each other.
Okay, and Priyanka?
Actually, ma'am, my experience is that sometimes we cannot resist the anarchy directly, but indirectly we can do a lot of things, because I have experienced, you know, deadly confrontations in the universities and colleges where I had worked for years. Because of my popularity, other professors were very jealous and they tried to, you know, subdue me and to crush me and to ruin my academic career and to throw me out of the institution very, very arrogantly. I resisted strongly, boldly, powerfully by teaching, you know, more powerfully. I didn't accept the anarchy. I resisted it, not violently, but I mean, properly by doing my work in a much better way. So that is something that we must do. We must, you know, resist that arrogant behavior or those actions which have negative impact on our psyche, by performing in a much better way, by being so great that other people can't even dream of that height of success that I have achieved. One thing I would like to say, when I got the recognition from WIP, that is World Institute for Peace, the institute that declared me as the best poet of 2022, then perhaps I could, you know, convey the strong message to the poets of my land who have always been sabotaging me. So that is I think that is what I must do. I must cross all the limits so that they don't dare cross the limit.
I agree, and that's beautiful, and your poetry.
That's a good goal.
beautiful.
That's a good goal.
Every award you get, you deserve, and I think all the awards that people are getting, they deserve here. And my last words are, I have dealt with many arrogant and egotistical people, both in my personal life and public life, and I have learned to avoid a lot of those people. And if I'm ever in the situation where I'm with one of those people, I'm usually very quiet and allow them to deal with whatever they have to deal with, and then try and not make myself their target. You know, it's very important not to be a target. And you can do that by just being there and taking care of yourself. And you need to teach being a human being from the time your children are born. And hopefully I've taught it to my daughters, and it's an ongoing thing. You continually learn as you're a person in the world, and I'm up there in age and still learning. So it's wonderful to have these kinds of days where you can get together and see people and hear the beautiful poetry that everybody writes. And I'm so thrilled that Melissa and I have decided to do these things, because we get people together and we get to talk about subjects that very rarely are discussed. And so wonderful, wonderful thing. And I just want to make one more announcement, which is not in the keeping of this, but we are about to end our spring poetry contest and motivational strips. So I'm saying to everyone who sees this, if you have not entered, you still have time. One poem, 16 lines, only 10 words to a line, and it should be about spring. So
Any style that you want, any style.
you want, any style. It can be 3 lines, you can have a say-no, you can have a cluster of say-nos, you can have a rhyming poem, you can have free verse, whatever it is. We are not asking you just one poem though. Okay, so that's the thing. And we have 34 now. 34.
But the only thing that I was going to say is next month is May, and that's Mother's Day. And I think that's what our topic should be.
Yes.
And it also could, you know, I had a wonderful mother, and I had a stay-at-home mother, and I had a very traditional upper middle class, you know, upbringing. So I was lucky. But not all mothers are like my mother. So I think that the topic should be, you know, if you want to write it about, you know, a wonderful mother, or if you want to write it about mothers that probably should have never had children. Because as we know, there's times that even still in this world, that mothers will sell their children into human trafficking, sexual trafficking at 5 and 6 years of age. So these do exist still with mothers. So I think that should be our topic, whether it be pleasant, whether it be, you know, fantasy, or whether it be something that negative that mothers do.
Okay, then we are doing raising awareness for treatment of mothers, or the
Well, we'll think about the title, but
Yeah.
I think it should have to do something
I
with
think it's
mothers.
about mothers.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so everybody have a wonderful end of April.
1 minute. And can you please share that notification for competition in our group, Poetry Initiative group?
in motivational strips. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna
that-
get people who win will get special certificates, and there'll be 3 winners, and the other people who have participated will get participation certificates. And Mary Lynn has
Yes.
beautifully done a certificate for the participants, and we are awaiting the winners' certificates. And Mary Lynn did a beautiful job. We have the support of Shiju and Srikla. Unfortunately, Srikla was in the hospital. I hope she's better. And I think people are getting COVID now because of the fact that they are not taking care of themselves. I am getting my 4th booster. And I think everyone should be wearing masks. People are not wearing masks, and that is the reason that people are getting COVID. So that is my last word on this.
I just wanted to say it was Sabrina also was the first person that initiated permission for us to do
And
our
Sabrina too,
poetry
right.
contest.
Yes,
That was Sabrina that did that, and she's very supportive of all the poets and people. And
Yeah, Sabrina was the one who helped us, and it's good that we had help because we didn't know if we could do the contest. And
Yeah.
and
yeah, we
and
didn't
I
want
couldn't-
openings for admins.
right.
Well, anyway, if you haven't written a poem, please write a poem. You've
Yes,
got
please do.
till
Right.
tomorrow, our time, probably, well, it's the 30th. It ends at 12, what? At
12 midnight. Yeah,
11:59.
12 midnight. Yeah.
EST,
You
EST.
don't have much time to get it in there, but please get it in there because anybody who puts in a poem will get a certificate of appreciation for having done it.
Can you
And
please
we-
share the notification in the poetry in your group, poetry initiative group? Because I didn't find it out in the MS. So many posts are there.
Oh,
So
well,
I
just go, listen to me. Just go to motivational strips, go up there where the featured things are,
Announcements.
where the features are, go over to the third one, you'll see the poster, and then you'll see Barbara's and Lillian's and Melissa's picture at the bottom. You will post your poem underneath that poster.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, and
If you've already
and
done
I
it,
have,
do it,
yeah,
and
we
we'll
just,
look and make sure that you have it there.
yeah, it has a spring picture. You see a spring picture of a couple sitting in beautiful
Grass.
yeah, it's really beautiful. And so you just go to featured. It should be right there under featured. Yeah. So I know a lot of people don't use those features up there, but
A lot of people don't even know what they're for. They don't even know how to do that.
But, and if nothing else, you can go to my page. It's on my page since I posted the announcement. So it would be under the featured or also page if you scan, you
Yeah.
know,
Just
scroll down, either way.
put your poem in the comments, and we have,
Yeah,
as I
because
said,
I've had people contact me too about where to put it. In fact, Ashcock Coomer did today, and I tried to tell him, and I told him as soon as this was over, I was going to go make sure that he got it in there. So I don't know what we're going to, because some of these people just don't know how to get to that featured thing.
I know, it's
then
very
You have
disturbing.
your things there that confuses them even more. They think they're supposed to post it underneath your video, and it doesn't belong there. So
And I think we haven't had a poetry contest for a long time. So
No.
I'm hoping that we will do more of this motivational strips and have different types of contests. And I just think it's exciting. And plus everybody gets to showcase their talent. And I love that. The uniqueness of people.
I think after the contest is over, that we should have the winners on our you know, on a Zoom so that they
That would
can,
be nice. They could recite their poems. That would be
Yeah.
nice.
yeah.
Good-
So
that's
we'll
a
do
good
that.
suggestion.
And also anyone else who would like to come on, but the winners will be featured. And we are, I'm not looking forward to this because all the poems are so beautiful.
I know it's
They
very
are.
difficult. It's very difficult to judge these type of things when everybody's so talented. You just like to give everybody a winning post certificate, but you can't do that.
Right, so, okay.
That's why we give the
We're gonna-
person the
we're gonna
appreciation.
end the recording now,
Because
but
it's important.
we're gonna
Yeah.
end the recording now, so we're gonna stop recording. There it
Love
is.
y'all.
Okay, and we're gonna stop recording.
See you next month.
Okay, and where is the recording? Stop recording. Okay, we're stopping recording.